My story begins in an age long past, nearly 6,000 years ago. It was a time of great promise, a new beginning for the world at large. It was a time axe-wielding American warrior kings would rise up against their barbarian oppressors and take back their people from the clutches of slavery. It was a time when great scientific discoveries would lead to much greater inventions that would push the lands into a golden age. It was a time when great men would be faced with great challenges as they strove to spread the forces of liberty, freedom, and justice throughout the world. Thomas Jefferson, 1775. I'm just kidding. Thomas Jefferson didn't say that. That's George Washington. The story of George Washington began as many others do, with an erection. A town was founded in his honor, and from it would spring the great nation of America, the land of the free, and the home of far too many barbarians. Washington's rule would lead to great technological innovations, and produced a thriving culture around the arts of pottery, animal husbandry, and calendars. But not all was well in the land of Civ 5, as soon Washington was fated to meet an adversary for the ages. Wise old Washington was kind. He did not declare war on them the moment they showed their ugly faces. But what he didn't expect was that Carthage would launch a surprise Zerg rush attack! New York soon fell. Washington City only barely survived a siege thanks to its state-of-the-art fortifications. Lacking a true standing army to defend with, it seemed that Washington was entirely at the mercy of his foe. His military advisor desperately urged him to sue for peace with the Carthaginians, but his military advisor was also a dumb idiot who didn't know what he was talking about. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all Carthaginians are created evil. And so Washington built an army to topple the military garrison occupying New York. But just then, Queen Elizabeth sailed to America, and that's not even what she said in the text box. What the heck? Washington, ever the clever diplomat, was able to convince Elizabeth to mount a full-scale assault on his enemy Carthage, and... Come on, accept the offer.
I beg your pardon.
Accept the offer! And so Washington faced his eternal foe alone. The army he amassed would become legendary as he gathered the most skilled warriors of his domain together to fight the growing Carthaginian menace. They marched on New York and took back their ancestral home. But their crusade was far from over. Their march continued down the Carthaginian coastline until it took them to the shining city of Utique. Here took place the Great Siege of Utique, which lasted a total of 75 years apparently. War was more methodical back then. Upon capturing the city, Washington's troops razed it to the ground! Ha ha! Fire! Burn! Ha ha! Die! Apologies to any Carthaginians watching this video. Washington's Great War March took him to the very capital of Carthage, the city of... Carthage. Okay, come on now, that's kind of narcissistic, naming your capital after the name of your country. The only thing worse than that would be naming it after its founder, and... You know what, never mind. Hey, that's a nice great general you have there, Carthage. Oops! More like Scipio Africanus, am I right? The attack on the city of Carthage was a stalemate. The city's walls would protect it from any sort of advance Washington would order. Brave Washington refused to surrender, and pushed ever forward in his quest for the destruction of his demonic archenemy. Also, Jesus was born sometime around there. So yeah, that happened. Many good men were lost in the bloody battle over the city. The cowardly Dido tried to surrender many times, but Washington was never tempted by that accursed she-harpy. He would never give in to her beguiling offers of peace and prosperity. He would never— oh hey, she's offering me a city. Sold! And so, the Great War with Carthage came to an end. Oh look, it made everybody unhappy. I know, guys, I wanted to destroy them too. Since running a strict and unforgiving militaristic regime wasn't good for morale for some reason, Washington began focusing construction efforts on improving happiness in his empire by building circuses, coliseums, and not Stonehenge because somebody decided to steal that from me. Unfortunately, nobody in America cared about these things, so screw it, we're going to war again. And so Washington engaged in war with his immortal foe, Dido the Antichrist. There's no way she can defeat us now. After all, we have the best military technology in all the land— oh Jesus, not the elephants! And so Dido's generous offer to surrender was gracefully accepted. Yay. Also, somehow elephants beat physics? I guess that explains the existence of Dumbo. And so Washington retreated inward, back to his homeland, to focus on growing the economy and beautifying the surroundings. You know, I don't even really want this city. Here, take it, Elizabeth. But first, let me give it a more fitting name. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't intend to intrude on your property. I'll be going now. You don't get the same treatment. Washington, haunted by terrible visions of the might of the Carthaginian hell beasts, knew that the only way to ensure the security of his people was to destroy the city of Carthage once and for all. His military might had dwindled over the centuries, but the hearts of his people were brave and true. Surely he would prevail. The two nations clashed in the open Carthaginian coastline. Washington's highly trained spearmen were prepared to face the monsters that appeared in the battle of the return of the revenge of Carthage, and with them were a new kind of soldier. Mounted horse-riding warriors clad in red, white, and blue armor, wielding swords of flame and defeating foes by being face-meltingly awesome! The American knights had arrived on the scene. The battle was fierce, but Washington's troops fought their way through the army of bloodthirsty Carthaginian soldiers and carved a path into Dido's nest of evil itself once more, this time to end it. Using the mighty combined powers of physics, chivalry, and pointing sticks, Washington was able to take Carthage and purge the world of its corruption. What? I can't raise capitals. I can't raise capitals! Either way, with the great threat of Carthage defeated, Washington knew that he would usher the world into a new era. One where his noble kingship would keep the world from being tempted by the evils which ruled the land of Carthage forevermore. With a military that struck like the hand of God and an economy with the strength of Paul Bunyan, American Hercules, Washington knew that a worldwide victory was close at hand. Nothing could stand in his way. Nothing could— What? George Washington, stricken with illness after the victory over Carthage, seemed to lose his will to live. After achieving the conquest he so hungrily thirsted for, his 6,000-year lifespan was ready to come to a close. But as his hour of fate drew nigh, he vanished. To where? We do not know. But whispers in his native land speak of his return during the Ragnarok, the end of days, where the spirit of George Washington will ride one final time into battle with Dido to determine the fate of the universe. Now you know. The lore behind George Washington is yours to command. Use it well.